All right, so I think we are live now. Let's see if it pops up for us here on the YouTube. All right, let's see. Oh, here we go. All right. So we've given it a thumbs up. Someone also gave it a thumbs up already. Love to see that. Someone is on the ball today. All right, so live stream link, right? Got to put in your own Discord at least, right? Oop. There we go. Gonna copy this guy. And we put that there. We're also going to throw it into the streams, right? Got to do that. We will get rid of the writing though. We will just toss it in there. So now if people want to join, they can easily, right? That's kind of the whole point of being able to put it into the streams area. So we're good here. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Now let's make sure everything's running on my end. Let's see. Yep, okay, so we're live. That's good. Cool. So today's topics will be, we will be going over what to expect for March, right? So that is the anniversary of Hero Wars that we have coming up. We also have another event that's pretty standard for this time. But yeah, that's what we'll probably be starting off with in terms of topics, and then we will probably branch out from there. I'll probably also go over kind of like what I have coming up in terms of content, because I know some people have been asking me for a new tier list. Hey Gary, nice to have you here. I appreciate you. Always on the ball. I love that. I do want to hear more about. So I saw you put in my Discord channel something about having gold players not necessarily be able to battle the next week in silver and bronze, and kind of wanted to hear more about that. I'll probably have to hit you up in chat at some point too, because I'm curious, what's happened or what's been going on that led to that. But I'd love to hear more. I've heard a couple of people say stuff like that. I'm just not super familiar with, um, you know, the workings of everything that's going on there. So I'd love to learn more. But nice to have you here. I appreciate you coming in, checking in. I love that. And yeah, so today we will be talking about, different events that we should expect for March, which is the upcoming month. So just a couple of notes there. I will be probably, waiting a couple more minutes, probably about 2 more minutes just before we really start getting into the content, so I don't, have to repeat myself too much for you. But that's kind of what we're looking at right now. I haven't done really anything on this particular account for today, other than, I actually don't think I really did much of anything on this account today, just because I knew I'd be going live today, so I decided not to basically do too much. My other accounts, I think I'm pretty much done. I did about, 1750 for activity, maybe a little bit more, and about 150 Titanite minimum on, mobile and my other Facebook accounts. So I think we're looking good. This is the only one that I haven't. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. All right. Oh, the other thing is today we did rank #1 in Arena. Pretty stoked about that. I was worried that someone might try to snipe me at the last second. Fortunately, that did not happen. So pretty stoked about that. On the road to getting first place 30 times, which is what I need for the new, I think it's a frame. Is it a frame or is it an avatar? No, I'm not even sure. I think it's a frame. It's got to be a frame, right? Let's see. So, let's see. Arena Master. Okay, so yeah. I don't think this is right because I think it might be 4 now, but I'd have to double check. But yeah, so today we were able to get that ranking reward, #1 in Arena. Hey, Negro, nice to have you here. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I hope you are doing well as well. Hey, Melissa, how's it going for you? Thank you for coming in. Always a pleasure to have you here. So, today, obviously, I think some of the primary points that I really want to talk about are what we're going to see in March in terms of upcoming events, right? Because we're coming to the end of February here, and basically what to expect. I mean, Hero Wars has a birthday in March, so that should be an exciting time. And also, there's another 1.5 events that go on as well that I think should be talked about so that we're kind of all on the same page. Everyone has a leg up in expecting these events. Hey, Rennie, nice to have you here as well. So, yeah, today I actually ranked first in Arena, which was awesome. So, good amount of emeralds for that #1 spot, as well as some other great items as well. So, I'm going to collect those. Just overall, a good, solid day. I was worried someone might snipe me. It happened 2 days ago. I was in first like 2 minutes before the end of the arena time, and then I got moved all the way down to 20. So it was a rough one because I thought I had it and I didn't. Now I'm down to third. Not a big deal. Jackal likes to mess around a little bit. I like getting back. So looks like we got a couple good defenses there. We beat Jackal for first in the first place. I'm sure his award time's coming up, so we'll leave him alone. Not a big deal. Um, So that's what we have going on there. I'm so ready for a Go Teen Titans Go event. I hear ya. I'm sure we'll have one coming up, but if we have a Titan event, it will be either next week or 3 weeks away, because in 2 weeks we have a very reoccurring event that happens in March. So I guess that's where I'll start off. Um, and thank you very much. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that. I'm really trying to get that frame for, finishing first, I think 30 times. So I'm stoked. Thank you for the congratulations on that. So, okay. So here's the event that I was talking about. This is from Load Runner himself. I think this is a site that he helped facilitate, or, he has something to do with this website when it comes to putting things up. So every time in March, right? So typically the second weekend, right? So not this coming weekend, but the weekend after that, we always have a Brave Warriors event for Facebook and web. And when we're talking about Brave Warriors, it's typically 3 female heroes. So this was 3 years ago actually. We had Qingmao, Aurora, and Maya, and you could basically get soul stones of these 3 heroes during this event. Then 2 years ago, we had a similar thing, right? Second week of March, which, focused on Astrid, right? So Astrid and Lucas. We had Ginger and Fox. There were also these different avatars, right? Then we also had these boxes, which you could pick then, right, of these 3 heroes. Then if you spent emeralds or purchased emeralds, you could get emeralds back. That's typically this type of event. But yeah, so there was these 3 heroes 2 years ago. And last year, we had one where we focused on, Celeste, Nebula, and Artemis. So those were the 3 Brave Warriors that we had last year. So this year we will be having, probably, I'm guessing, in the second week of March, so not next week, but the week after that, we will be having a Brave Warriors event that I foresee being similar to what we've had in the past. New avatars, right? So you could actually get these avatars in the CyberCon event, right? Which was pretty cool as well. But that's what I would expect, because in the last 3 years, it's been pretty common that we had this Brave Warriors event. Again, the timeline 3/8 to 3/11, pretty standard for all of these, times, if we'll call it that. But basically, it's the second week, almost every time of March. So my expectation is we won't have it next week, but it'll be the following week. Who knows? They might switch it up and put it next week, but just a heads up, we will probably be having this event in March. So that is something to look forward to. Another thing, right? So that's the first event that I wanted to talk about, Brave Warriors, which has 3 female heroes that are super strong that they always feature. And then the other one is, of course, Hero Wars birthday, right? So 2 things usually happen when we line up with the Hero Wars anniversary. So last year was the 4-year anniversary. This year, Hero Wars will be turning 5. That is a huge milestone. Typically, they will up the ante in terms of rewards for this year, which I'm super stoked about. Should be a good time. Things to keep in mind, there usually is the event, and then there's also a Strongford quiz, right? So you have those two things going concurrently, right? So you can actually see, let's see if I can make this any bigger. Let's see. I can, but basically, we have a lore festival. It's a little bit blurry, but Hero Wars Lore Festival, so you can basically get tickets, right? And let's see if I have a better one here. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember, but we had a Strongford quiz, right? And so with the tickets that you got from the event, right, Lore Festival, you could trade them in, and basically there were different aspects that determined how many points you'd get. So you could gamble with 10 tickets or 1 ticket. So it's kind of like more of like a bigger risk, bigger reward all at one time. And, things to keep in mind, points were based on speed, so how fast you answer the question, as well as accuracy. So those were a couple things. And then again, however many tickets that you gambled at the time per question, that could also make a difference. So I know, I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago, they started making a list, or it was almost like a Word document of questions that Hero Wars asked, with a bunch of answers on it. I'm going to go back through my records, and once we get closer to that event, I'll see if I can find it and post it in my Discord channel for you guys. That way, we have all the stuff that we need. A lot of you guys already know a lot about Hero Wars, but some of the questions are tricky, so it's nice to have those as well. Okay, so Onegro here says, I'm thinking Leanne will be in the Charlie's Angel mix of 3 heroes for the event. I think that's a great call there, because Leanne hasn't been one of the 3 heroes that we've seen in a while, especially when it comes to that specific 3 Warriors event. I think that's a great call. Hey, Evil, nice to have you here. Right now we're talking about events that we're going to be seeing in March. So far, we talked about the 3 female heroes that we typically see in Brave Warriors event, which typically happens in the second event of March. So not this coming event, but the event that happens right after that. So 2 weeks away, typically. And then now we're talking about Hero Wars' upcoming 5-year anniversary. So typically we have the Strongford quiz, which is what we're talking about right now. And last year, they actually started really kind of getting more into this Furnace of Souls. I thought it was kind of silly this year, or this past year, right? Just because you could use one hero and you could defeat way more enemies than you could in the past. So that to me was kind of funky. But, hey, it is what it is. I mean, I realize, 40 enemies getting defeated by Heidi. I don't know. Kind of seemed like it was a broken event. But anyway, you were able to easily get all of the basic, point requirements, as well as enemy defeated requirements, which was nice. So that was something that we saw, right? And we also had the daily login with a cake. So a lot of good rewards were there. There also was a hidden Easter egg, event where you could basically click on a bunch of hidden different things. It was like a mini game. And so I will 100% be covering that as well. So expect that on the anniversary day. I'll definitely try to do a reminder as well. But those are a couple of things that we should be seeing coming up. So Evil here says, I heard Isaac will be Hero of the Month next month. That's great. If that's true, that is amazing. I think Isaac is a underutilized hero. I realize, Hero Wars kind of bombarded us with a bunch of new heroes, and I actually think Isaac is one of those ones that, for me, has been a game changer in Arena. I use him a lot, especially against Magic teams, Aurora teams. I don't think Aurora on her own makes Isaac super useful, but when you have Aurora with like Maya or another Magic attacker, you really see a big difference. But yeah, no, I think that's pretty cool. And if that's really true, I haven't confirmed that yet, but if that's really true, I love getting that info early, and that's awesome. So thank you for sharing that with us, Evil. Okay, Onegro here says, I'm also feeling Lilith will sneak into that mix too. Hey, you know what? That would make sense as well. I also, maybe they'll throw in Heidi as well. Who knows? But I know Heidi's been much improved. She's been sneakily upgraded in my opinion. She's not a top tier hero, um, but she's definitely improved a lot. And I mean, I think the dodge mechanic has helped a lot in terms of when they reworked how dodge works and they made Aurora the new best tank in the game. Heidi became elevated too because Heidi has a crazy amount of dodge, also has a really good poison skill, and with a bunch of new skins, Heidi got I think two brand new skins. The damage output that Heidi can do over time is pretty significant. So that's another thing I'm working on right now is a tier list. People have been asking me, you need to make a new tier list, Jay. You also need to make a new how to assemble a hero team. So I got a couple of things I got to work on that I will put up soon. So let's see. I recall that certain players in my guild were competing to see who can get the most candies per day. Yeah, I mean, hey, at that point, you got to make it a game. It's definitely one of those things where it's like, I don't know. It was a little bit too easy at one point, but it was fun because you felt like you could easily finish the task, but it was also like I don't know, kind of expected more out of that event, but it was good. They got some good rewards out of that. Wally here says that was the point, make it a smooth ride, especially for players that was new. Hey, they got that done. So I was stoked that everyone was able to get rewards, which I think was a huge win for everyone in the Hero Wars community. Even though I realize at the same time, people who have been veterans longer probably were a little bit frustrated by it. I get it. Okay, Charlie put that up on a short on YouTube. I actually haven't seen Charlie's shorts yet. I know he started that channel, but at the time that I started looking at it, he hadn't put any videos up. So I'll have to get back to you on that. I can't confirm that, but I'm sure he has. I know I saw a tier list that I think Coco and him kind of collaborated on. I personally didn't agree with everything on there. So I mean, people always ask, Coco usually reaches out to me when he's working on those as well and kind of asks for my thoughts. He's not a fan of Ishmael. I love Ishmael. I think Ishmael's underrated. Um, it's one of those things. You just you play and you learn a bunch of stuff and you collaborate with different people within the game. So it's all good. We're all learning. Great stuff there. Okay, so I already have Isaac to Absolute Star since Winterfest, and yes, he is a game changer, especially since he has a game controller in his hand to change said game. Oh man, that is so great on so many levels. I'm in the same boat. I have an Absolute Isaac. The thing I'm still working on is glyphs, really, and artifacts, and I'm finding that even with some super below tier, below par glyphs, I'm having no problems defeating certain teams. So Isaac to me instantly destroys ODH combos. Also Rex. So Orion just struggles against Isaac. Isaac is amazing. Other heroes that struggle, Maya doesn't usually do very great against Isaac. Twins, it's hit or miss. So if the twins deal too much damage to your team and Isaac can't sustain it, right? So if your Isaac's not strong enough, let's say he's purple and the twins are red, you might not do so hot. So Isaac definitely has to be somewhat strong when you're facing a twins team because the twins just deal so much damage unless you have Sebastian also backing up Isaac. It can sometimes get a little dicey. I've had issues before when my Isaac was a little weaker. Still working on his artifacts, of course, but that is where I'm at with my Isaac. But yes, I agree, Onegro. I think it's pretty sick. I mean, he has his game controller, as you said. I don't know if it's exactly a game controller, but I like the sentiment. But yeah, he's a top tier hero in my opinion, underrated. Do I think he is S rank? Probably not, but I think in terms of having him as a support, very reliable hero. All right, so we have Nathan here checking in. Hey, how are you? Thank you for coming. Okay, so Onegro here says that's why they need to bring puzzles in 2 events or bring back the puzzle mechanic or increase it for the game. It would be a great way to get rewards from doing puzzles based about Hero Wars. I agree. I like puzzles, so I definitely think they could put in more. That's something that I still need to suggest to Hero Wars himself. I did put it in the questionnaire that they gave me. I answered that right after that stream, so I did mention that. But I'm gonna have to push it a little bit more. I can reach out to, I think Tanya still works with Hero Wars, and I think the other one too that I'm aware of is we used to call him Bob, so I actually don't remember his name, but he was newish about a year ago. So those two I usually sometimes reach out to in Hero Wars and can communicate with them pretty easily. Um, hey Google Games Pixel Survival, nice to have you here. Sounds like an interesting game, so maybe I'll have to check that one out. Okay, so Wally says, no, it just Hero Wars Secrets, but I didn't agree to all of it, but it was great knowledge though. So Coco is Hero Wars Secrets, and I know yeah, so we talked about Ishmael later, because I actually didn't have a chance to look over his tier list with him, but I did see it when Charlie posted it. I think some things on there were pretty accurate, but I also think some of it maybe is a little bit inaccurate. I think it just depends on where you are in game. But again, it's very opinion based, so tiers are kind of a little bit skewed as well. It's hard to say, oh, that's 100% right or 100% wrong. But I think there are some universally true things when it comes to heroes. But yeah, no, I mean, nothing but love to Coco, Hero Wars Secrets. Nothing but love there. I just, personally, I think there's a couple things that could be tweaked, but everyone has their own opinion. He definitely has some good insights as well. So yeah, nothing wrong with that. I wonder how he would look with his new skins when he gets them. Yeah, so I think Isaac has a lot of potential here. I think they could definitely do a winter skin of him. That would be sick. So probably next Winterfest, which seems like forever away. But I typically like to look at heroes that were just before the newest hero. So I would be looking at Yasmin to see like what skin she has. Right, so I think she has at least one. She has a devil skin, right? Let's see. So she has a devil skin. So, excuse me. She has a devil skin. I definitely think that it's not far-fetched to think that Isaac will get one relatively soon. Maybe not like in the next, major skin event or anything like that. But, within 2 or 3 events, maybe even Halloween, he might see a brand new one. Let's see. There's definitely some events that come up sooner. I'm not sure, but I'm sure that he will have a couple. I know, popular heroes like Isaac eventually might just get slower new skins, because like I know with Anvari, right? Anvari is my favorite hero. I don't know. I don't use him as often as I'd like, but he's definitely my favorite hero in terms of looks and everything. And he just got his second skin, right? He just got that lunar skin, which is, man, I like that look. I also loved his winter skin. So I actually just like how he looks all around. But some heroes, they're just a little bit slower to get brand new skins to. It is what it is. Okay, mechanical skin, I could see that as well. I can see that as well. What got you to streaming and doing YouTube? So for me, I don't know if you've read my official background in the description for my channel. I think for me, the biggest thing that got me into it was actually I started making a couple of videos for my guildmates. And they said, hey, you know what, Jay, you should post these on YouTube. They could help other people as well, especially newer players. So I ended up kind of going from there and putting them on YouTube. And you can actually see in my first couple videos, I just do voiceovers in the first couple because I wasn't exactly sure how to go about YouTube videos. But the more I did it, the more I've gotten comfortable. And, I've gotten a bunch of great people here, like everyone here on the stream. And it just kind of took off from there. So, I'm all about kind of being transparent and sharing information. That's kind of my biggest thing is when I started playing, I didn't have a lot of guidance. I had to do a lot of research, a lot of self-study. And with Hero Wars constantly evolving, there's a lot of research to always be done and new things that always come up. So I like to share my knowledge when I can, and I also love to learn new things as well. So I just like everyone being on the same page, having a fair fighting chance. Especially, I was a free-to-play player for a very long time. When I first started playing, I know it's hard. So I want to give those people a fair chance as well. And also for those people who do want to spend money in game, I want to give them the best advice too, because I've definitely spent some money in areas that maybe weren't the best. So I just want people to not make the same mistakes that I've made, and hopefully, have better results or just as good of results, hopefully. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's what got me into YouTube. And I think the thing that got me into Hero Wars was definitely the puzzles and the ads that maybe were a little bit misleading. But hey, you know what? Ultimately, we're here at the end of the day having fun. That's all that really matters to me now. So yeah, that's what happened there. Hey Jay, any counters to the Twins? I know Isaac is on the list, but any others? Absolutely great question. My number one counter for the Twins is surprise, surprise. It's gonna be Aurora. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Hero challenge. Let's go ahead and just toss up the Twins. Let's see. Oh, no. There we go. All right, some interesting zooming in effects there, but okay, what now? Now it just wants to scroll up. All right, so we got the Twins here. All right, we're just computer decided to have a mind of its own. I guess Isaac took over there with his video game controller. But so Aurora, I found, is very good at countering the Twins. Let's go ahead and toss Aurora in here. She might lose in a 2-on-1 fight, but I actually think it's possible she might win this. Aurora is actually really good because Aurora absorbs magic damage and deflects it back at the enemy. Here she doesn't have enough defense or healing right now helping her out, so she's going to get knocked out. But Aurora, maybe I'll just throw in Martha with Aurora and see how that goes. But Aurora, I've seen do really, really well. Actually, you know what? Here's a better way of doing this. I've seen, well, I would say take my word for it, but at the same time, that's probably not as conclusive. Let's go ahead and put Martha and Aurora together and see what happens. I know from my experience that Aurora can be a game changer when it comes to the Twins. I just know that if my Twins are still standing and the opponent still has Aurora alive, I've lost. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Aurora is just really good at deflecting that magic damage. We'll see what happens here. But, she's not going down very easily here. And with Martha alone, that's only one healer. And I don't have any pets attached here. And Aurora just got taken out. But she survived a good portion of that matchup. Let me see if I can find a way to best demonstrate this. So I usually see combos like, let's see, something like this. Let me find Martha. So yeah, okay. Just I'll give you a quick list of heroes to check out when you're facing the Twins. So Aurora is definitely on that list. Other ones would be, yep, Anvari. Yep, absolutely. Anvari can definitely help. Sebastian is really good on Facebook and web because Sebastian can take away some of the tier marks that Krista puts down. Other ones that I like, Rufus is typically pretty good. Aurora is good. Leanne can be pretty effective. Let's see who else. It depends on the positioning as well, because sometimes positioning can just be a game changer. Let's see here. I'm not sure what the best team to put up right now is, but I can just, I guess I could just run everything the same with the exception of being, I'm trying to think of a best way to show this without doing too much playing around on this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and put Aurora in as the tank instead of Astaroth. And I will hope that that's sufficient for now. I mean, obviously I can go more in depth once I have a little bit more prepared research, because I know for a fact that Aurora is very effective. I use Aurora with the Twins, but if I go like this, I'm thinking that the Aurora team will win. At least that's been my experience. Let's see if this actually plays out the same way that I was thinking. So, I mean, the result is definitely what I was thinking, but it doesn't show exactly what I wanted it to show, which was how effective Aurora can be against the Twins. I'll look into it a little bit more and kind of be able to show you. But the twins and Aurora, that is definitely a thing. Another one is definitely Rufus, and Vari. Like we said here, Cornelius is good, but one of the issues with Cornelius is when Krista's strong enough, she survives, which is super annoying. She can take 3 or 4 hits, and if you have a good healer, that really counters the ability to really do too much. Um, yeah, Isaac has been like the saving grace for me when I face a team with my Kark. Another way that I can go about it is, so, let's say like Jackal here. Well, Jackal doesn't use the twins. Um, but like with his team, I usually try to hit hard and fast. So, did he change his team since I beat him last time? Might have. Let's see. Jackal. So he used a different team, but I also put a different team in defense. As soon as I secured the first spot, I changed my defense and then I changed it back after I already got my reward. So it looks like my offensive team was pretty much just like I was trying to hit hard and fast. We can see how it goes just for fun one time. But yeah, so Thea is good for silence too. I just personally prefer. I mean, I like hitting hard and fast and winning a quick matchup when I use Kark against the twins. So with the twins and Kark, I typically have to use Isaac, or I have to use Faceless and Sebastian. Um, it's just hard. It depends really. It really depends on uh, where Lars is standing. Because if Lars is in the back, oh, I lost this one. But if Lars is in the back line, then I need to consider taking him out first using Jorgen. Jorgen has a skill called Leper, right? This one right here. Basically allowing for all the damage to go to the very backline hero. So if Lars is the last hero, I'll try to throw in Jorgen and then hope that there's no Sebastian on the opposing team. And if there is, I'll use Jorgen and Sebastian together, which is a really good combo I've found over time. But this skill, Leper, allows for physical damage to be increased. It also allows for that back hero, the last hero, to get hit first with damage. So the issue is, you don't want too many strong heroes in the front line, but Jorgen can help you take out Lars in the back, which can really limit Krista's damage output when we're talking about twins. I mean, if one of them goes down, they're just not as effective. So the goal is to take one out before the other. And Krista typically just has so much more health and defense when we're talking about stats that it's easier to take out Lars. So the target is always to take out Lars so that you can defeat a twins team pretty effectively. That's my best bet. Okay, sorry. I was talking a little bit there. We are all in the same boat. We got. Yeah, I agree with you there. Thea's okay for silence. Yeah, I agree. Thea's not bad. I just think she needs more healing capabilities or health on her own because she can get one-shotted by Kark from what I've seen. Not good. You don't want a silencer to be KO'd in one hit. Thea is also good against the twins, providing magic defense and silence. Yeah, I believe that. I just haven't used Thea enough against the twins to know that works 100% of the time. But yes, I agree. Which I realize, I could probably elaborate on that, but I'm not going to at this time because I don't know enough about Thea's ability to silence, which I think is Vow of Silence, right? Yeah, so it's not a bad skill, but it's only silences them for 3 seconds. How long does Isaac silence people for? Let's check that out. Um, where's the silence skill? Hmm. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so he silences enemies for 4 seconds. So it's 1 second longer. And I actually really like this skill. The other thing too is like if you get really lucky in your timing in an arena battle and you have Isaac silencing opponents, and then you have Faceless double up on that skill, uh, which is an additional 4 seconds, you just kind of like shut down the opposing team for a solid 8 seconds. So that's one thing that I really like about it as well. Um, So a couple things to point out there. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at when we're talking about countering the Twins. Another thing, I mean, yeah, just like one of the things is just it depends on where they're standing. So that can really make a big difference when you have Lars in the very back, right? The last hero. He's a lot more, in my opinion, easier to take down. So I personally like to have a buffer, but it's not. It doesn't always work out that way. It depends on the team. It just there's a lot of things that go into it. So those are a couple things that I would consider. So I personally like Isaac a little bit more than Thea just because you get that extra second. I realize it doesn't seem like much, but sometimes it can make all the difference in the world. The twins have the same skins. They really are twins. They do have I think you're right. I think they have the exact same skins. Um, Let me double. Yeah, I actually don't even think I need to look, and I can almost confirm that. Um, but yeah, no, I really like the twins. I just on this account I haven't had it gone around to getting them to absolute, which is where they need to be. I'm thinking that let me check out my projects here. What am I working on next? Let's see. I think Ching Mao was high on my to-do list. I also was thinking about Rufus over time here. With the more that they've upgraded Rufus, the more I like him and the more I want to use him. He's just a little bit far off. So it's something that I'm considering. I haven't gotten around to it yet. The twins are a high priority. Aurora is also a high priority. I'm kind of thinking Aurora is above the twins, in my opinion, because it's only one hero versus two. But I haven't made a firm decision yet. I'm still working on it. But yeah, I mean, I think the goal is to get a lot of these guys up to red so I can use most of them. I definitely want to have all three of my Grand Arena teams up to red. Right now, I have some sprinkled in, but it's kind of what we're looking at for right now. I mix it up, but this is what I have going on right now. And yeah, that's what I have going there. I think it depends on the team. I prefer Thea with a magic team against the Twins and Isaac with a physical attack team. That makes sense, especially with the artifacts like you're saying here, Melissa. I like that. That's a great point. Um, I definitely agree with that too. I think that Thea definitely. Let me check out her artifacts, but I definitely think I know Isaac is really good with physical attackers, so there's no doubt that that's true with Isaac. With Thea, I'm not as versed in using her late in game. I used her a lot early, but I didn't use her as much late in game. And there have been one and a half reworks. I'm going to call it on her generally speaking. So let's see here. So magic defense, that makes sense. Yeah. So I could definitely see that being effective. I could also see a Thea and Isaac combo being interesting just because there's so much silence going on there. But I could definitely see that. Would you rather have Chaba or Lilith? So when it comes to those two heroes, I'm not a fan of either of them if I'm being 100% honest. But I think Lilith has more potential long term. Chaba for me is a weaker Kirby. Yes, I realize Kirby's a completely different game, but basically, I don't know. I kind of think Chaba. I don't know. I don't love Chaba because I haven't seen too many good results with him late in game. He can be annoying if an opponent has Astaroth, but he just doesn't have as much defense, I think, as I'd like. He has some good armor and physical attack, but I think against Magic teams, and I got to double check this, but something about him just was not very appealing when it came to skills. I don't remember if it was artifacts, armor. So it looks like he's really good against physical attack teams, if I'm being honest. But I haven't seen him used too much. And I can't really tell you why, other than I personally am not a huge fan. I think they're just. I don't want to say like he basically counters a tank and that's really it. He doesn't deal too much damage. But when there's other tanks that deal damage and are able to survive a long time, for me the utility is just not there. So if I had to choose between Chaba and Lilith, I think I would prefer Lilith because I could actually use Lilith as a stall hero when it comes to um what do you call it? When it comes to battling, I could use her on a defensive team and have more what do you call it? Healers with Lilith, and then I could time out an opponent. So I think Lilith might not be a bad bet. Plus, I think she's really cool that when she gets bigger, right? So I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen that. I'm sure some of you guys have, but the fact that Lilith just continues to grow is really cool. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. I'll speed up the fight so that you can just like pay attention to her growth. Let's see. Let's find Lilith. Um, and Lilith has really good health. There's still, in my opinion, not enough damage being done by Lilith, which is what we need. But overall, I think Lilith has potential. Let me see who will help utilize. I guess we could. Chaba is amazing against Aurora teams. That makes sense. I could see that, especially if it takes Aurora out of the fight. But I just wanted to show the how Lilith grows. Daredevil might have too much attack and might be able to knock out Lilith, but I just wanted to show you that she actually grows. Like she actually gets bigger. Yeah, so she got taken out, but she definitely grows when she is fighting, which is cool. I could see Chaba being good against Aurora. I don't really think, especially against those who rely on Aurora for the much needed dodge artifact. That makes sense. I could see that. So I guess if you're looking at an Aurora team, maybe Chaba might not be a bad hero to implement, depending on how strong your Chaba is. Because I think Chaba, let me check the timeline on when Chaba releases a hero. And when we're talking about Aurora, Aurora is very, very good and like can basically go off at any second. So let me see here. Let's see. Swallows target 6 seconds. That's good. Deals damage over time. Burp. Damages nearby enemies, slowing them down for 4 seconds. Okay. Increases armor proportionally to missing health. Yeah, okay. Now Chaba restores health by digesting the swallowed enemy. Transforms 21% of damage dealt into health. Huh. I actually have not seen Chaba been used against Aurora. Now I kind of want to see this. So I apologize for you guys sticking with me here, but I'm definitely I'm intrigued by this. I actually hadn't even thought about this. So 3v1, thanks for pointing this out. I did not even consider this as an option, but let's take a look. We got Aurora on defense and we got Chaba on offense. Let's just see how it plays out. I just want to see what it looks like. I realize you're not going to have a 1v1 fight, but I just kind of want to see what we're dealing with here. So, definitely dealt some damage. Trying to think, because I know Chaba... I want to say Chaba releases the hero after a certain period of time, but this could be a slept on counter that I just didn't even think of. So this could definitely be something interesting here. That could be something interesting. I'm going to have to play around with that combo, but wow, okay. So there is an unexpected use, in my opinion, for Aurora, or for Chaba. But one thing that I will say is I think it's going to also depend on who Aurora has around her, because I don't know how effective that will be when we're talking about, you know, a typical, well, I say typical, but when we're looking at Aurora, Twins, Sebastian, and Celeste, that will definitely take Aurora out of the fight. But I'd have to look into the effectiveness of other heroes around that as well. But that is a great point. I like Lilith a little bit better, generally speaking. But with this new info for me on Chaba, I'm going to have to look into this Chaba counter as a potential for Aurora. That could be interesting. I don't think I'm going to like Chaba against Corvus, because I think Corvus is weak as heck, in my opinion, right now. Statistically speaking, has the weakest armor, the weakest magic defense in game. Um, I don't think they've added any new skins that I'm aware of. But when Corvus came out and they maxed out his stats, I was not impressed. Has the best offense in game, no defense though. So for me, taking out Corvus is not a big deal. The only hero I would not use against Corvus is Kira. Um, okay, all right. Lilith is slightly better, but team making is her backfire, cause her position. Yeah. You should also consider that when Chaba is paired with Thea, he does even better. He gets stronger with lower health, and Thea boosts speed when health is lower. I could see that. Thea also provides magic defense artifact. Yeah, we were just talking about Thea, and I actually think that that could be a potential good pairing there. Thea and Chaba. I definitely think Chaba needs a little bit more on the magic defense side. So I think that could definitely help compensate a little, but I think we're going to need a little bit more. So when I'm thinking about a team with Chaba, I'm going to want someone who can also provide even more when we're looking at that magic defense artifact. But then here's my concern: does it leave me too thin on the offensive side in terms of a hero? Because then I'm going to need a hero that can deal damage, that can survive, which then leads me to think about Ju. But when you have Ju, if the opposing team has Martha, Martha pretty much counters Ju because Ju is unable to out damage Martha's healing. So then it gets a little bit complicated, and then you're in a chess match. So those are things I'm going to have to consider when I'm looking at it. But that is a great call with Chaba on Aurora. I'm just going to have to look at it a little bit more carefully so I can give you guys the best info back on that. But I think that's a great point that 3v1 raises. I love that that was a good question that you came up with there. Lilith versus Chaba, I hadn't even considered those two as strong candidates for options that I would normally use. So those are some unconventional heroes that, thanks for bringing that up. I think that was a great question. And I love questions like that because they're a little bit thought provoking. And even though you like initially you're like, oh, clearly, one should be superior to the other, sometimes it brings into conversations. And I love how 3v1 chimed in here. Anyone who has any information on any heroes, and Melissa was talking about Thea too. I think this is great because it just opens up dialogue and allows for us to have, these intellectual questions when it comes to the heroes and maximizing utility and knowing when to use different heroes. So I really like that. I think that's really cool. Kark usually takes out Corvus really well, but most heroes really struggle with Corvus. I could see that, but I just think too that I think the twins do a really good job with Corvus as well. At least in my experience, I haven't had any problems with Aurora and the twins taking on Corvus at all. I'm trying to think. Hmm. I've seen Galahad do pretty well against teams that have Corvus as well. Aurora is definitely good against Corvus, for sure. Will they release a new hero soon? So I think yes and no. I don't think it's gonna be super soon, but I think it's gonna be. So here's the thing: at the latest, it's gonna be October because October they almost always release a new hero. Well, that's a Halloween event, and they could release Alvanor during that time. Alvanor is a newer hero that's. I like Alvanor, but I also don't like Alvanor. I think Alvanor has potential, but again, right now without the skins that they have on mobile, Alvanor is not up to par with what I would be using in a regular hero. So yes and no, and mobile doesn't have Isaac yet, so I think they're gonna implement a switch where they're gonna add both heroes to the game. It's just I don't know how soon that's gonna be, but I'm almost positive that those two heroes will be coming. It's kind of similar to how Facebook and web got Yasmin way before mobile did, almost I want to say 5 months before Yasmin got dropped. I said Yasmin was going to be dropped into mobile 2 weeks after we got her on Facebook. I didn't say when because I didn't know how soon the timeline would be. And everyone else, right? Some of the big YouTubers were like, "No way, we're never going to see Yasmin in mobile." Well, Yasmin's in mobile now. So we'll see what happens, but I definitely think we'll be having Alvinor join the Facebook web series sooner rather than later. I just think it might not be until Halloween, but I definitely think we will have new heroes. I'm still waiting on a pet event. I don't know about you guys, but I heard on the stream that they were having, right, Hero Wars generally, when they were having their streams, they said they were going to have a pet event before the end of last year. We still haven't had it. So I don't know what's going on with Hero Wars. I know they just formed with a new company in terms of merging, so they just got acquired. But I don't know what's going on with that. Still waiting to hear back. We'll see. So that's kind of my thing there. Chaba has the most magic defense personally, and is the only tank to stand in front of Aurora, which is good at the start. Does Chaba have the most magic defense? I just don't know enough about Chaba to make a educated understanding of that. I'm gonna have to look. Let's see stats. Magic defense. So its magic defense is better than its armor. I'm gonna have to look at the. There's a table with finalized stats for every single hero, and I actually can like input the numbers myself, but I don't know off the top of my head here to be able to give you an educated info. But I think Chaba definitely has potential. Underrated a little bit maybe, but I also think it's very specialized because it does take up a slot on your team, and then you have to consider, the opposing teams, the other 4 heroes, and you have to have Chaba survive to be able to continue to utilize his effect. So, it's a little bit of a delicate situation, but I definitely could see if you have the right supports and you have enough attack power, you could stave off an enemy or potentially win if you're the attacking team. Okay. I bet Alvinor and Winterfest. I could see that. I hope not, because I hope we get another hero also, but I could see that as well. Yeah, I have a lot of portal charges waiting for that event. I agree. Would you rather have Isaac or Alvinor? Isaac, 100%. Isaac, I think, has more utility and is very, very good against magic attackers, which, honestly, magic attackers were out of control. They had no checks, in my opinion, for physical attackers. As a Kark user, I had 0 chance against any Twins team. Like, if I'm being honest, like, I just had there wasn't a combo I could use to defeat him. I, like, tested so many different combos. I was stumped. I literally didn't have a good solution. So with Isaac now, it helps me out a lot more. Sebastian alone wasn't enough. So I definitely think, with the 2, it definitely has evened the playing field, in my opinion, on that front. But Alvinor, I like Alvinor's support. He has some really good skills that can translate, and he does some healing, which is nice as well. Just not enough health, not enough defense. So, hit or miss. They also upgraded Darkstar in mobile. Darkstar became a top tier hero in mobile overnight, seemingly. Has some really good potential. If they do that to Facebook, Darkstar is going to be a hero I'm going to be looking at very soon to upgrade. It actually almost makes me want to upgrade her right now that we're talking about her. Let me find her. Just had her. All right, let's see. Hey, Martin, nice to have you here. Martine, my mistake. Pronunciation. Okay. Chobzilla. Yes, surprise. I love that. That's awesome. Also, if I didn't already say hi to you when you said hi earlier, my mistake. There's a lot going on. But nice to have you here, surprise. Thank you for hopping in. Always a pleasure. Isaac, no need for choice. Fair enough. Alvinor won't be major for Facebook Web on the simple facts of the elves tags. Yeah, I agree, but I also think that I wouldn't be surprised if they add in elves. Hero Wars is always trying to do something like by having different factions. I really don't understand why you want to have partial factions as opposed to an entire faction. But we'll see what happens. I really don't know how far they're going to take that. Judge is a hero that I fully expect is going to be seeing some reworks on web and Facebook. Mobile, they're already talking about for sure having one. But Judge has been, my understanding is like less than 7% of teams use Judge. So, and don't quote me on that because I actually got that statistic off someone else. So that's not my own research. But so I think they're going to be trying to figure out a way to get Judge into more teams, and to do that, they're going to have to upgrade Judge. So we'll see what happens. But I'm looking for a Judge rework. I'll be keeping my eye out on that. Just a heads up, guys. I think Judge may have some rework in its future. Okay. Sorry I came in late. I will rewatch later though. Thank you, Movie Star, for coming in. I always appreciate you coming in as well. And yeah, surprise. Nice to have you here too. Yeah, I love you guys. You guys are always here. Melissa, all you guys who are here who are regulars, I love you guys and I appreciate you guys always being constantly, supportive of not only me, but I think the game and Hero Wars, and having a good time and promoting that, because I know people do watch the stream later on. And I always get comments once in a while like, hey, I love that you do the live streams. And I love that, some people say they want me to do more, but I also feel like with live streams, if you do them too often, in my opinion, it takes away from having it kind of be like a special, like cool thing. So I personally like having them not super often. I realize, maybe it would be good to have more, but at the same time, real world stuff happens as well. So sometimes it can be a little complicated. But just thank you for everyone who comes and supports on a weekly basis. It means a lot. Just want to make sure I put that out there. Okay. Mobile get the full faction on the simple facts of Facebook and web have pets. I could see that, but I also think that mobile... I wouldn't be surprised if mobile's trying to ultimately implement pets as well in the future. I personally think it's too much for that platform to be able to support. We'll see, though. I don't know. I've seen some weird things happen on mobile that I didn't expect. I mean, the fact that they're already, the fact that they're talking about putting in Titan artifacts, which I already think is kind of annoying. To me, I was never expecting artifacts to be a part of mobile because of the way that mobile's so small. Like, the devices are really small, and it's really hard to be able to do. I mean, you pretty much have to go into auto mode for most of your matchups because it's just really hard to time up manual, in my opinion, on mobile. So I just think it's very interesting that they're going that route. I personally don't love it, but you might be right. They might just be doing those factions to compensate for not having pets. But we'll see. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to implement pets in the future. But yeah, so let's see. Though it's just a guess, I expect a new pet event to come once they release a new pet. Fair enough. Also, Judge will 100% get a rework. He's the worst hero by far. Even worse than Arachne. I actually think Arachne is not that bad on Facebook web right now. I do think Arachne is not the best, but I don't think Arachne is that bad. I think, once they change the artifacts from magic attack, which Arachne has no magic attack, and they change it to physical attack, I think Arachne instantly got way better. But I will agree with you there that Judge is the worst hero right now in the game. Someone was asking me about Dante. I had Dante, I think, about a year ago being the worst hero, and they asked me, like, hey, man, how is Dante the worst hero in the game? And I tried to point out that that tier list was about a year old. So they were like, you need to update this. So I was like, okay. I mean, I think I have newer tier lists since last year's in September of 2020. But hey, you know what? That's okay. I'll make a new tier list. I mean, Dante's definitely improved leaps and bounds since about a year ago, when honestly he was maybe, in my opinion, the worst hero in the game. So, I love that Hero Wars makes adjustments on the regular. But yeah, so that is something to keep in mind there. Start buying your micro USD cards. Is this a good event to use emeralds or save them for the birthday event? I would save them for the birthday event. 2 reasons why. I meant to mention this earlier. I don't still have it open, but things that happen during the birthday event. Let me talk about that. So, a couple things happen almost every single year. There is a ×4 sale when it comes to emeralds. There are also discounts. So the discounts occur in the heroic chest. They also occur in the airship, right? So heroes, hero artifacts, right? When we're talking about the artifact chest. Let me open 10 more of these real quick. Then we also have discounts when it comes to Titans. So we have the discounts on the Circle of Summoning, right? So they discount these. They also discount the artifacts. So that means it's a better chance to, oh, not that. The Altar of Elements specifically, right? So you have a better chance at getting more rewards for less emeralds, if we'll call it that. It doesn't necessarily improve your odds of a fragment, in my opinion, but those are a couple of things that you could definitely get a better deal on. The other thing is going to be, there's one other thing, pets. So pets are going to be on sale, right, when we're talking about pet summoning. I personally don't think the sale on pet summoning is that great because I think pet prices are overpriced. But I really like and if this is for people who don't have their Titans done, I really like the summoning ones. That's a really good discount. I also do think that the hero airship is one that's, underutilized a little bit, underrated, because the price gets seriously slashed. And then if you don't have Cleaver, that was one of the times that I tried to focus on getting Cleaver, and I eventually got Cleaver. So, that was one way I went about it. Those are a couple things. So I would just hold off, save your emeralds, in my opinion, for the birthday event, which is about, I think it's about a month off. So, but it is in March. It's in March. It's late in March, but that's an event I would say, if you can save your stuff, you're going to have the best discounts at that time. The only other time I think there's really good discounts, trying to think, I think maybe like Winterfest maybe had some good events. Discounts. I'm blanking, but I know that is one of the times Hero Wars has some really good discounts. Let's see. Arachne on Facebook web works with physical teams. Yeah, I agree. 100% on mobile. On mobile, Arachne is a mess. Don't recommend Arachne on mobile. I really feel guilty for spending a couple of emeralds on this event, but I'll definitely save the rest of them for the altar. Hey, you know what? There's nothing to feel guilty about because I always spend emeralds pretty much every event anyway. But I will say that next month, if you're looking to get, heroes, hero artifact, Titans, Titan artifacts, or pet summoning using emeralds, your best bet is going to be saving them for that birthday event. They just always tend to have the best quote unquote deals or percentages off on those items. Just a suggestion. You don't have to do it. That's just a suggestion and something that I probably will be trying to take advantage of. I'm going to be trying to probably save more emeralds than I normally do, and wait for that event to roll around. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're looking at for the upcoming, month of March, which I'm pretty excited about. I actually can't wait to get a couple more soul stones, right? Whether it's of a hero that I don't have, right? So I still have a couple heroes that are not absolute. Let me take a look. So they're not very many, but I have Artemis, Mojo, Heidi, those three, and I think that might be it. So those are the three that I'm still working on to get to absolute. But once you get all of them to absolute, then it's just all about upgrading your heroes. So it becomes a lot easier. And when I only have these three that I'm really focusing on, makes life pretty easy. I mean, honestly, all my chests are probably going to go to Mojo because that's the most strenuous in terms of energy. I'm still sitting on some of these Hero Soulstone chests. I'm waiting for an event that I think's good enough to use them on. Although I didn't really check this one too carefully because I've been a little bit busy this week. But let's see. So how many? 500 Soulstones. That's a lot, but I definitely could use the artifacts as well. I'll have to consider debating using those or not. But at the same time, there are some really good discounts during that, Christmas or that birthday event that I mentioned. So I'm probably not going to do it, but it's something that I'm going to be considering. You should do a video of what heroes to level, Jay. Okay, yeah, absolutely. I definitely don't mind doing that. And I think I saw a couple good outlines in terms of what kind of format to use in terms of showing that. But I definitely think, um, I think even when we're talking about building a team, I think it's really important to emphasize an attacker. I've seen so many teams that lack an attacker, and then people ask me, especially newer players, when they don't really understand the best attacking heroes really make a huge difference. So when we're talking about Kark, I personally don't consider Jew a top attacking hero. I think he's really good, and he's great against bosses, but I personally think he lacks when it comes to arena fights. I think Kark, the twins, Kira, Yasmin, I just think that those heroes specifically are top tier heroes when it comes to attacking. And I think if you build a team around them, you have nothing to worry about. I think Ishmael's another hero that is very strong. Ching Mao is very good as well. So I definitely didn't mention all the all the heroes that could be useful. But I think if we're talking about just like the top tier of heroes, I think those are the best attackers in the game. I tried to limit it to be like an exclusive group, but those are the ones that I think are a little bit above everyone else. That's just my hot take. I can definitely go more into that, and I can definitely talk about leveling specific heroes. Supports are so important and underutilized. Um, Tanks are a really good focus, and I love that people are focusing on tanks now. But yeah, those are a couple things. I can definitely do something on that, E. Nathan. I got you, fam. I do have a couple things I need to work on before that, so probably working on a tier list right now. And I think when I do a how I build teams, I can definitely incorporate which heroes to level, and I'll try to do that one for you. So for sure, going to work on that. Hey OBD, nice to have you here. No worries. It's there's no attendance sheet. It's always just fun and hanging out. So thank you for coming in. And yeah, Black Friday absolutely has some good deals as well. Yeah, the CyberCon event, yeah, Cyberpunk event, yeah. So that was a good one as well. I really like that one. I like the fact that you could, once you got one of the 3 grand prizes, you could reset your board. So, I'm sorry, Ishmael got jacked up fast. I would do Jew over Ishmael any day. I think that's fair, but I think Ishmael to me has a lot of upside, and I think one thing is definitely having all the skins, but I know with Ishmael, I can beat a Twins team. I can beat a Kark team. With Ishmael, you can beat almost any team. So I personally think he's a little bit underrated. He used to be the top hero in Hero Wars. Like, no joke. He was, if you didn't have Ishmael on your team, you couldn't win. Um, so they actually debuffed him twice. And I still think he's really good, considering how weakened he's become. I know a lot of old players are like, dude, I hate how much they weakened Ishmael. Like, he used to be the best hero in the game, like, blah, blah, blah. But, it is what it is. Like, they're trying to make sure that all the heroes get utilized. And I think Ishmael's still a really good hero, even though I realize, some people like Jew better. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I just think in a player versus player matchup, I think Ishmael's a little bit better. But I think Jew is very good when it comes to boss fights. And yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's any doubt that Jew's really good. I don't think there's a way you can beat Seymour without Jew. I mean, I've seen it happen without Jew, but I just think it's so much easier with Jew that I think it's ridiculous not to use him. Hot take. Um, I know this might sound awkward, but how much energy have you spent since you started playing Hero Wars? How much energy? Ooh, that is a really good question. And I don't think I know the answer to that definitively, but I would say all the free energy that I could get in the past. When did I start on this account? On this account, at least, I started on 10/24, so just before Halloween. So a week before Halloween on 2 years ago. So since this event, probably every free energy I could get, plus I typically spend about, I usually use all of these. So I use, 250s every day. So that's at least 240 energy plus all the free energy. I definitely make sure to try to get as much free energy as I can. Let's see, Aurora. So pretty much all of those. And then I also definitely try to any water like any energy bottles that I get, I try to use those, but I do try to save them for certain events that I really think I want the rewards for the for the energy exchange. So all of those I've definitely used energy for. Boxy gifts, I'm gonna open them right now. So like boxy gifts, when you get bottled energy, I typically just save them until I find an event that I'm like, yo, if I use the energy now, I'm going to get mad rewards back, or these are rewards that you typically don't see. So those are things that definitely make me think, okay, I need to use them now, or like for this. So that's kind of where I'm at there. That's how, I definitely try to utilize as much energy as I can. It's just, I personally think that there comes a point when spending emeralds to do energy doesn't make sense anymore. And for me, that's typically when I hit around 100. So when the cost becomes 100 for 120 energy, so I just don't do it anymore. But it just depends on what you're trying to do. That's typically what I do. Couple millions maybe. Yeah, I think probably honestly, just given how long that I've been playing, so I could see that. Thousands, hundreds of thousands by now, millions. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Reaper? Nice to have you here. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Right now, we were just quickly going over some of the events that we're expecting to have in March. And I can really quickly cover that again. I know most of you guys already heard it, but I'm just going to go ahead and go over it one last time. So typically the second week of March, we have a event that basically has 3 female heroes. It's called Brave Warriors, and we've had it for the last 3 years. So 3 years ago, they featured Ching Mao, Aurora, and Maya. And then 2 years ago, they featured Fox, Astrid, and Lucas, and Ginger. Last year, they featured Artemis, Nebula, and Celeste. So basically, you could acquire hero soul stones from those events. So that's something we'll be expecting, not this upcoming week, but the following week. And then also this month, upcoming month of March, we'll also be having Hero Wars 5th birthday anniversary. So those are a couple of things that I mean that we're gonna have. Free energy, 60 energy, and more energy. Absolutely. Nathan making some jokes in comments. Gotta love it. All right, so let's see. So that is kind of what we're talking about so far. That's what we've talked about for the most part. Other than that, we've been chilling, doing some minor quests, talking about different heroes. We were talking about Chaba being a potential counter to Aurora, because Chaba can, basically, there's not really a good way of putting this. Can take her out of the fight. I was gonna say swallow her up, but it sounded a little bit dirty in my head, so I didn't want to say that. But I guess it's out there now. Anyway, yeah, should be a good time. The anniversary, yeah, the anniversary is gonna be a good time. They always have some really good sales. They always have a ×4 event. Typically, they also have the quiz during that time. So those are a couple of things that should be pretty exciting if I'm being 100% honest. So the things to expect for that, right? So for the quiz, we will be having the daily login, completing quests in that, event. We also have Outland chests doing adventures. So you're going to want to have some portals saved for that event. Collect Titanite, pretty straightforward. Opening tower chests and doing expedition. So that's in the airship. Most of those are pretty straightforward. The only one that I'd say, make sure you have at least a couple of portal charges. Maybe you don't want to have all 3, but you probably want to have 2 when we're talking about different when we're talking about that event, right? Because you're gonna need a total of 7, I think, portal charges, 1 per day. And if you have more than that, you're basically ahead of the game because you can finish the event earlier. You don't have to worry about potentially, forgetting to do one day. So just something that I would personally probably do. It's, your call, but I would say, saving up on those will definitely help. What counters the twins? Right now, the ones that I think counter the twins the best are probably Aurora, Rufus. We're also talking about Anvari. Sebastian is a good help in countering, but I wouldn't say it's a catch all, because sometimes Sebastian on his own is not enough. So I would say those are a couple of good starters when we're countering the Twins. Um, those are probably the main ones that I would probably consider using. Aurora, Anvari, Rufus, and yeah, who else is good against the Twins? It depends on the other thing is positioning too. So if the last year is Lars, sometimes Jorgen is really good. It just depends on who's there as well. After the anniversary event, I guess the next big one will be the summer festival. Yeah, that is absolutely right, Melissa. I think that is typically the next event. I'll have to double check, but that sounds 100% right to me. I think you're on it. And yeah, that is definitely something that is a fun event. It's very similar to the Halloween event. I know it's very popular. You get a lot of soulstone chests during that time, so it's super popular. Makes sense. Um, you've got 22 portal charges saved. That is a lot. Um, I personally, I don't think I could do that, but I definitely hats off to you for that. That is crazy. That is amazing. But that just means you have a lot of potential there. Your pets are already beast. So I don't even know if you need to use them, but it's always good to have some portal charges saved. You might not need that many, but sounds like you've definitely got some in the bank, as we like to say. So nice job on that. Okay, so the other thing is I need to. Oh, so someone asked me about this the other day, and it was regarding this actual exact adventure. Um, someone was asking why they found one path harder than the other, and the reason is this bottom path is meant for physical attackers, and this top path is meant for magic attackers. So if you come across a matchup where you're using like the Twins or something, you should probably be trying to utilize the top portion of the map, because the top portion of the map is meant to be more magic user friendly, where the bottom part of the map is meant for physical attackers and is definitely more physical attack helpful, I guess, is how I would put it. So those are a couple things. Someone asked me about that, I think 2 days ago. So I just want to make sure that I put that in this live stream. When you're doing this adventure, there are different advantages. The middle route is usually not super difficult, but I would say it's definitely an important one. It's probably the most important, because if you miss one, there is recovery, but it definitely makes it a lot more difficult on your teammates. So that is something that I would say is probably the most important path. And it also opens everything up for everyone else to just kind of smoothly go through the adventure. There we just had a little, I guess, hiccup in terms of the game just decided to reload on itself. But anyway, that is kind of really what we're talking about. And I don't know, how's this event been going for you? I'm very curious. I know for me, I typically like the hero artifact events, but I also think that they get a little bit boring, because you're kind of just like fighting to get chests, and it's a lot of self motivation to ensure that you complete the entire board. Well, not the entire board, but you know, to get pretty far in this event, because you just end up getting these chests, right? These flawless artifact chests, and then you get the rewards. Do they still have a top fan package? Yes, they had a top fan package drop today, actually. I can shoot you the link later in our guild chat. But they dropped a top fan reward today. So you didn't miss anything. They dropped it this morning at like, I want to say like 9 a.m. for me. So about 12 hours ago. So they dropped the top fan gift today. If you haven't gotten it, pick it up today. And if you don't see it, then I will send it to you later today. Actually, right after this live stream, I'll send it to you. They do have one. It just happened today. I don't think they give enough skin stones. I'm going to have to tend to agree with you on that one. I think they don't give us enough of a couple of things, especially when they start skimming on these skin stones when they give you sets of 10, right? I'm just like, come on now. Like, give me the normal large skin stone chest, not the baby skin stone chest with only 10 skin stones in them. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It was released today. Check the site. Yep, absolutely. So today it was dropped. Let's see. So I would say that's really kind of what I got for you guys for today. I'm looking forward to March. We had a great February. In terms of viewership too, like just so you guys are kind of on the same page as me, my goal is to hit 1 million views because that will put me into the next tier of the Hero Wars program, which will allow me to basically give back to you guys, right, when we're talking about, different like little fan packages that I can, well, they call them fan packages, I think, that you can give out as I do these. So once I hit 1 million views, we'll be able to give those out. And so for right now, I think we're over the halfway mark for sure. We're at over 500,000 views now. We're, I think, at almost 525,000. I think we might have just passed that. So we're making progress. We're on track to potentially get to 1 million before the end of, I think if I did the math right, I think it was November, late November. We should be close to getting to that 1 mil. So that should be amazing. Thank you guys so much for the support. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out on this stream. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a good one, everyone.